If you've got stainless steel or brushed nickel appliances around the house and they might be getting a little, let's say, older, or certainly if they're taking a beating, for example, the inside of your door handle, hopefully this video can help you out. I'm going to be tackling this job today, and I'm going to be using this bathroom faucet. I absolutely love these faucets, but I noticed that they're developing a little bit of chipping, and I don't know if that's because it's too thin of a lip. You can see right there, there's some black. Let me zoom in a little closer. Can you see that? That is not cool. I am not pleased with that. That has to go. So in this video, I'm going to kind of walk you through how I approached fixing some brushed nickel / stainless steel finish on this particular bathroom faucet. So we'll go ahead and get started, and keep in mind this is not a perfect job. I don't have the tools, and I'm certainly not a professional to replicate a finish like brushed nickel or stainless steel like this, right? So I'm going to be trying to minimize the damage done here and prevent further peeling and cracking from happening. So because it's a faucet, I'm going to make sure everything's super dry. That involves wiggling the handle. I can even shut the water off if I want to, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm confident that things can stay dry, and I'm using the hairdryer here to accelerate that and make sure that for the most part everything is nice and dry. Next, because I'm going to be applying some chemicals in a later step, I'm going to be cleaning this really well now with sanitizing alcohol pad, making sure I get all surfaces that I'm interested in covering. Now, what am I going to be covering it with? Well, I've got some automotive primer, and this is a gray color. Now, stainless steel and brushed nickel are not obviously the same color as gray, right? There's a huge difference. So if you're not interested in an automotive primer, which by the way bonds really, really well to metal, which is why I chose it, right? You could potentially go to the store and try to get a stainless steel colored can of spray paint. And notice I'm not spraying directly onto the faucet itself. So what I'm doing here is trying to create a little pool of spray paint, and I'm going to be bringing it, I'm doing this outside, and then I'm going to be bringing it inside to the work area, and this allows me to effectively use it as a palette, right? So I've got a really small fine tip brush, and I will be dipping that, and I will be applying that, and I'm not going to paint the entire surface, but I am going to apply a little dab over the black part that's chipped, right? My goal is to not get a perfect color match. My goal is to not make it black and to minimize that visual difference when you look at this. So that is what's happening in this step, and I'm trying to smooth it out as best as I can. Now I'm taking advantage of, I've got a little paper towel with me too, so while it's still kind of wet, see I probably put too much on right there, I can wipe it down again, so there'll be some actual adhering happening very thinly pretty immediately, but the thicker the coat that you put on, obviously the longer it takes for it to dry. So you can kind of wipe off the thick part and still see a little bit of gray that went on, and then reapply a little bit as needed. It helps to have a steady hand, obviously. If you're working on something like this, you don't want to mess up and, for example, touch the top of your faucet there with this primer. Again, it wipes off, but you just don't want to deal with that. So I am pretty happy with that. Here's what I was talking about. If you are not happy, you can kind of gently rub some of that off, and you'll see that there's a very base, a little bit of gray that actually remained, right? So it's a matter of doing this a few different times to kind of build up that coat where it's not too thin and not too thick. So already it's starting to kind of take away that. Again, it's not perfect, but it's blending in a little bit, trying to get rid of that contrast. Another tool that I found effective was we had this like gray kind of stainless steel pen, and it actually put out like stainless steel color. So that actually worked pretty well. And I'll try to put some options in the description below, as I always do. Supplies, tools, whatever you might see or need. So feel free to check that out. And definitely test it before you apply. This is really important, right? Because, yeah, it's really hard to reverse this, and you don't want to make the situation even worse, right? So once I'm confident that I've got some gray or stainless steel color kind of over that cracking peeling part, I'm going to take some clear coat. And I chose to do automotive clear coat because, again, I feel like because I'm in a water area, right? It's a faucet. I feel like this was best designed to be able to handle water, right? I mean, your clear coat on your car is able to handle rain. So that is why I chose this as opposed to a generic can of clear coat or anything like that. So this is specifically able to be put over, primer and paint. So that's kind of my theory. Keep in mind, I'm not a professional. This is just a do-it-yourself channel, but this is what worked for me. And with a different brush, not the same brush, fine tipped, I am going to apply a little bit of clear coat. And the idea here is to cover the paint that I just put on, but also I'm going to be not liberal, but I'm going to coat it, the existing stainless and brushed nickel finish there. In other words, the parts that didn't chip on that lip, I'm going to apply it there, and that hopefully will prevent it from cracking in the future and peeling in the future anymore, right? So I don't want the stuff that hadn't cracked yet to eventually crack. So hopefully this layer of clear coat will create a barrier, a protective barrier, so that's whatever's causing it, it's going to basically hold it in place. So that is my plan and my idea. Now, will it work? Time will tell. I am going to post another video if I have issues, and we'll take it from there if this doesn't work, but I am pretty confident that this is going to work. Again, I'm just applying it to that bottom lip there where the chipping is occurring, and a little bit to the top lip, but not the top surface, right? Obviously, I don't want that touching. And I'm going to let that dry and cure really well before I turn on the faucet again, using the hairdryer to accelerate that. And we are dry to the touch. And I let it dry just, several hours before use, just to be sure. Now, again, it's not perfect. Like I said, it's obviously not a match for stainless steel or brushed nickel, right? But it's not, you don't see those those kind of black chips as easily. Obviously, you get up there and you zoom in, you're going to see it. But walking by, they're a lot less noticeable. So if I ever go to sell the house, for example, I don't think anyone's going to get up there and take a look. But anyway, hopefully this has made you think and inspired you a little bit. Hopefully helped you out. Thanks so much for being with me.